with an R, U prime, R prime. Now if you did that all correctly, you should have a solved megaminx.
Do you want to learn to solve the megaminx the easy way? No worries, our boy Ben from cubelessons.co.nz has you covered. He's going to teach you the megaminx beginner's method so that you can do your first solve on your first megaminx. So grab a pen, grab a notebook, and grab your puzzle and get ready to learn. Take it away, Ben.
Hey everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to solve a megaminx. Now before we get started, I just want to quickly mention that you should know how to solve a regular 3x3 Rubik's Cube before you attempt to start solving a megaminx. This is because the steps and the patterns involved in the megaminx are incredibly similar to the ones of a 3x3. So if you already know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, solving the megaminx will be much easier. Okay, so the first step to solving the megaminx is getting what's called the white star, like this. Now the white star is extremely similar to the white crust on a 3x3, it just has one extra edge piece that you have to solve. And I should mention that with the white star, all of the edges match up with their center, like this. Now getting the white star is quite intuitive and there's no algorithms required. You can just figure it out by kind of seeing what works. So for instance, I'm going to start the white star by pushing this red piece in and then moving it until it lines up like that. And I'm going to keep going around, putting the pieces in, gradually getting the white star. If you already know how to solve a 3x3, this step will be quite easy. Okay, so once you finish solving the white star like this, after a bit of trial and error, it's time for the second step, which is called the first layer. And the first layer looks something like this. You've got the entire white face solved with the solved bottom layer. So to get started on the first layer, what you're going to do is you're going to find any corner piece on the megaminx that has white on it. So for example, I'm going to pick this piece here. So we can see that this piece has white on it and it's got yellow and blue. And looking at the white star, I can see that this piece needs to go here because this is between the blue and yellow centers. So this piece needs to go here. Okay, so now we know that my corner piece here needs to go into this slot. We can just kind of move it around the megaminx until we get it above the slot it needs to go. So once you've got your piece above the slot it needs to go, we can learn our very first algorithm, but don't worry, it's incredibly easy and it's only 4 moves. And if you know how to solve a 3x3, you'll know exactly what I'm about to show you. So you hold the piece on the right and you do this algorithm. Right side up, top of your right hand, right side down, top of your left hand. And you may need to repeat that a few times, but for my case I only took 1 repetition for this piece to solve here. So you're going to keep on going around the megaminx, doing that for all the corner pieces in the first layer. So I'm going to pick this piece to solve next. This is the green and purple, and this is the green and purple center. So this piece goes here, so we can move it around until it's above the slot it needs to go, and repeat the algorithm. Nope, not quite. And on the 3rd repetition, it finally solved. I'm going to show you one more example here. So I'm going to pick this piece here. This is the blue and red piece. So this piece needs to go between the blue and red centers. So you can move the piece around the megaminx until you get it above the slot it needs to go. Do the algorithm until it solves. Okay, so once you've got the first layer complete, it's time to move on to the second layer. And the second layer looks something like this. So to get started on the second layer, what you're going to do is you're going to look at any corner piece in the first layer that we just solved and look at the piece that needs to go above it. So above this corner piece needs to be the yellow and the blue edge piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that piece on the megaminx. So having a quick look around, and I can see that I've found it here because this is the yellow and the blue edge piece. And then what you're going to do once you've found it is you're going to move it to above the slot where it needs to go, either here or here, so that it lines up with the centerpiece. So what I mean by that is I can see this piece needs to go here or here, so it lines up with the centerpieces. So I'm going to take it out, and it isn't lined up, so we move it across here, and this piece is lined up. So once you've got the piece lined up with the center, you can turn to face it, and then move it away from where it needs to go, because this piece needs to go in here, so we move it away. Do the algorithm, but left-handed, because this piece is on the left-hand side. And then turn around, and then solve this piece with the right hand algorithm. And you can see we've solved that edge piece. Now this will all seem extremely familiar if you know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. So we're going to keep on going around, so I can see this piece is solved and the purple and the... So we're going to keep on going around the megaminx, solving these second layer edge pieces. So this piece is solved, but this piece isn't, and this is the purple and the yellow edge piece. So we're going to have a look around the cube until we find it, and we see that it's here. So once we've found it, we can move it around until it lines up here. We can face it, turn it away from where it needs to go, do the left hand algorithm, turn around, and do the right hand algorithm. So I'll show one more example here. So this piece needs to be solved, and this is the green and purple edge piece. So here it is. We're going to move it around until it lines up. Then see this piece needs to go here, so we move it away, do the right hand algorithm, turn around, and do the left hand algorithm. Okay, so once you've gone around the megaminx solving all of these second layer edges, you should have something that looks a bit like this. So once we've got the second layer complete, it's time to move on to the third layer. So what the third layer will look like once it's completed is all of the megaminx will be solved except for the top layer here, which is the grey face. So to get started on the third layer, what we're first going to do is actually complete the yellow star. So we can see we've already got 3 pieces here of the yellow star, so we need to put the rest of the pieces in. So this piece goes in there to get one more, and have a look around. This piece is the last one, and we can see we've got the yellow star. Now once we've got that yellow star, we can see we've actually got more slots, 3 more slots that we can solve. So this is basically doing the exact same thing we did before in the first layer. We find the piece, the corner piece, it needs to go in here, do a left hand algorithm like that to get it in, do it with another piece, this piece needs to go in here, and basically go around solving these pieces like that. And then you can move on to finish these slots off with the second layer edge piece like this. So this piece needs to be solved, and it needs the orange and green piece, and here it is. So line it up with the center, face it, move it away, left hand algorithm, turn around, right hand algorithm. And we've got one more slot here to solve. So this is the green and blue piece. So we're going to have a look around, here it is. I'm going to move it till it lines up, move it away from where it needs to go, right hand algorithm, turn around, left hand algorithm. Now after you've done that, what you'll see is we've solved the entire of the yellow face. And now, once we've got the yellow face, we're going to do the exact same thing to the blue face. So we're going to finish off the blue star. There's only one more piece to go. So we have a look around, here it is, to get that blue star. And we've got these 2 slots to solve, like that. And now we need to find the green and the pink one, which is right here. Solve it so it's aligned, left hand algorithm, right hand algorithm. And now we can see we're really making progress on the megaminx now. We've got the entire yellow and the entire blue face. And now we're going to move on to the red one. It's the exact same thing we did before. Solve the red star with just one move like that. Solve the rest of the red slots. So we can now see we've got the entire yellow, blue, and red face. Now it's on to just the last 2. Now things get a little bit different when it's down to the last 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to solve the star on just one of these faces. So you can pick any of the face. I'm going to pick purple in my case. So we're going to solve the purple star like that. And the next thing we want to do is not actually solve these slots, but we actually want to solve this kind of weird slot in here. And the reason we want to do that is if we solve this slot here, this will make a little block, so it will set us up for solving these 2 slots here. So to solve this slot in here, we first need to figure out which pieces go in here. So we can see this is the blue, green, and purple piece. So once we've figured out which pieces go in here, we can move it into position of the other slot. And this is the piece that needs to go in here. So we're going to hold it on the left, do the left hand algorithm, like that. Oh, unfortunately, the other piece is already on top of it. So once we've done that, you can move it back, and this slot is solved. So once you've solved this slot in here, we can now move on to these other two slots, which are much more straightforward. So this piece can go in there like that, and we need to find the beige and the blue piece, which is right here. Move it so it's aligned. Solve it like that. And then solve this last slot here with this piece. And then this piece actually needs to be flipped. So what we can do is we can take it out with a right hand algorithm and then solve it with the left hand. So this has been taken out now. And now we can solve it like usual. Awesome. So now I've done that, we've actually solved the entire first, second, and third layer of the megaminx. Now I know if you're a beginner, that might seem extremely complicated to you, but trust me, you can rewatch the video as many times as you need, and eventually you will start to understand it. So the next step to solving the megaminx is we're actually going to get all of the grey edges facing up, known as the grey star. So there are 4 possible cases that you can have when going into this step. The first one is the one I have right here, when you've only got one edge facing up. The second case looks something like this, where you've got 3 facing up, but they're all next to each other. The next case looks something like this. You've got 3 edges up as well, except 2 are on one side and 1 is on the other, so they're not all next to each other. And then of course the last case is having all of them solved already, like all of the grey star pieces facing up, in which case you've skipped this step. So I'll go over each case one by one. So I'm going to start off with the case where just one grey star is facing up. So what you're going to do for this case is you're going to move the grey star to the back left in this position here. So once you've got the grey star piece at the back left there, you're going to move the front clockwise like that. You're going to do a right hand algorithm, and then you're going to undo that first front move like that. Now what this will do is this will get you 2 extra grey star pieces facing up. And this is the perfect moment to show you what to do in this case. So once you've got the 3 grey star pieces up where 2 are on one side and 1 is on the other, you want to hold it so that the 2 are on the left and the single one is on the right, like this. So once you've got the grey star pieces in this position, you're going to do the exact same moves as I showed you before. You're going to move the front clockwise, right hand move like that, and you're going to undo that first F move. And once you've done that, you can see you've completed this step where you've got all 5 of the grey star pieces facing up. Now I'll quickly go over the last case that could possibly happen, which is when you've got 3 facing up, but they're all next to each other, so they're not spaced out like the case I showed you before. So when you get this case, you're going to hold it in this position here, with the grey star piece on the left, a grey star piece at the back left, and a grey star piece at the back right. So once you've got this case like this, you can start by doing the front face clockwise again, but instead of doing 1 right hand move, you're going to do 2 like this. So 2 right hand moves, and then you're going to undo that first F move, and that will get you the 5 grey stars facing up. Okay, so now we've got all of the 5 grey star pieces facing up. We're now going to get the grey star corners facing up. So we're going to get the entire grey face solved. So to do this, we're going to actually flip the megaminx upside down and then choose any unsolved corner and place it in the bottom right like this. So once you've got a grey star corner in the bottom right, you're going to repeat the right hand move until it solves. So not solved yet. Not solved. There we go, it's solved, so it's facing the bottom. Now we're going to move the bottom layer only till we get to the next piece that's not solved, and we're going to keep on repeating the right hand move until it solves. So now we can rotate the cube back to normal, and we'll see that we've solved the entire grey face. Now for you, you might have a few more corners that were unsolved, and you might have to do a few more moves to solve them, but it's the exact same thing. So the next step is we're actually going to try to align all of the edges like this. This one's aligned, but that's not aligned, that's not aligned, and that's not aligned. So we can see in my case, I've got 2 aligned and 3 aren't. Now there are 3 possible cases you can have. You can have my case, where 2 are solved next to each other and the rest aren't. You can have this case, where you've got 2 solved across from each other and the rest aren't. Or the last possible case is when you have only one possibly aligned, so you can move it all you want, but there's only one that ever gets aligned. So I'll show you what to do in each of these cases. When you've only got one possibly aligned, what you're going to do is you're going to perform a J-perm algorithm. So for those of you that don't know, a J-perm goes like this. Right side up with your right hand, right side down. Like that. So once you've done that algorithm, you'll be able to see that you're able to line up 2 edge pieces like this. See, this one's aligned and this one's aligned. So now once you've got 2 pieces aligned, they'll either be next to each other like this, or they'll be spaced out like in my case. So when they're spaced out like I've got here, you want to hold it at the front and the back right here, and then you're going to perform this algorithm. So you may need to repeat that algorithm a couple of times, but once you have, you'll have all of the edges aligned to their centers, like this. Now the last possible case is when you have 2 aligned like this, but they're not across from each other, they're next to each other. So when you've got this, you want to hold the solved pieces at the front and the left, like this. Then you're going to perform a J-perm like we did earlier. Now we can see they're still not solved yet, so we're going to do it one more time. And you can see after the second time, we've solved all of the edges. Now the final step to solving your megaminx is aligning these corners that are unsolved. So to do this, we're going to flip the megaminx upside down again, and then we're going to hold any unsolved corner in the bottom right. Like this one isn't solved, but we can see this one is. So we don't want this one in the bottom right. We can choose any other one like this. So once you've got your piece in the bottom right, what we're going to do is this. We're going to take the piece out with R, U, R prime, and then see that this piece needs to go between the beige and blue centers. So we're going to move it across until we find where it needs to go, and then insert it with the exact opposite moves that we did before. So R, U prime, R prime, and this piece needs to go in, not there, here, because this is green and pink, and this is the green and pink edges. So we can do this with the R, U, R prime, the exact opposite moves that we did before. And to finish this off, this piece needs to go in here. So we solve it with the R, U prime, R prime. Now if you did that all correctly, you should have a solved megaminx. I know this all may seem quite confusing, and it probably will be at first. But as I said before, you can watch this video as many times as you need until you eventually start understanding and you can solve your megaminx all on your own. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you learn how to solve your megaminx now, and I'll see you in the next one. But really quick, before we go, I just want to mention that I offer one-on-one Rubik's Cube online lessons to help you with your cubing. Head to cubelessons.co.nz to book a lesson and to master the Rubik's Cube.